As we make our way through this spiritual process, it becomes very important to us to want to be able to protect and conserve and use our energy in the right way. So we're going to talk a little bit about this today and how we might be able to set some good boundaries inside of ourselves. Now, I know from my process, and you guys that have been with me for a while have probably seen it on the channel, like my producing of content has slowed right down. And there's a few reasons for that, and I'll tell you exactly why. I've got really busy with the one-to-one coaching, and I've also been working on something really creative and something you're going to love on the back end, and also another thing that you might love a little bit less, but you'll still love, and that one will be free. So what I've been doing is I've been using my time to the best of my ability in the best way possible for me. So that's why I've not been here posting so much. The thing is, I ended up getting overwhelmed with the amount of people that wanted the one-to-one coaching. So what did I have to do inside of myself? Well, what was happening was I was becoming very exhausted, and I was saying to some clients, oh, I'm on my way to a burnout, you know, and I probably would have been, quite frankly. And this journey is about learning different things, perhaps the same thing, again, but from a different perspective. And we have this principle in yoga called Brahmacharya. Brahmacharya means the right use and the conservation of one's energy. And I'd learnt it in my teacher training course, and I relearnt it in the process of going through my spiritual journey, but now I have a new perspective to learn it with. And well, what's the thing that you feel when there's so much interest and want for your services and you don't have enough time to be able to fulfill that? Well, it's overwhelm. And then what happens? Well, you get sick and you get exhausted, and you have to find a way to set some good boundaries inside of yourself so that you may continue to serve people on the free end too, and have this range of options for people. And so here was the practice of Brahmacharya coming in a new perspective, having to be able to live it in this new perspective of serving others rather than just serving myself. But in order to serve others, we have to be selfish, don't we? Well, what does selfish mean? It doesn't mean being a douche and taking things from people, or, you know, but it means to be appreciative of self, to understand the needs of self, to be in vibrational accord with self. It doesn't mean the nasty things, it means I need to take time for me and see what's going on and see how I can better this energy inside of myself, because we have a finite amount of energy, don't we, in the body? And we know that we make some pranic positive choices, meaning choices that enliven my prana, like sadhana. And sadhana just means your daily spiritual practice to bring about the highest aliveness of energy in the system and the biggest potential in your life. And if you're interested in getting involved in some sadhana, I have something very exciting that's coming at the cheapest price I could ever have made something, and I think it's the cheapest price on the internet, quite frankly, and I'm really proud of it because it's really good. It's down below. You might be able to by now, I don't know, we'll see, because I'm still sort of processing it. Probably tomorrow be able to sign up for something fun and new. I'm a bit secretive, aren't I? But if you're on my email list, you'll be able to get this really cool thing at a really good price. But there are some free options. Of course, I'm here serving you freely now, and I know that not everybody has money to spend on this, and so I offer a free breathing practice down below. It's insanely good. It's called dynamic stillness. Well, it'll teach you about dynamic stillness, but the breathing practice is called cosmic double breathing, as well as a free community of like-minded people that are going through an awakening experience. If you want to be able to connect with people that understand you, then you're more than welcome to join in there. And as well, you can sign up for the one-to-one coaching. Again, that one isn't free, but the application form is free, and we can see if we're a good match for each other. So for me, how am I able, and this is my next intention, to be able to serve you more freely here on the free end? How am I able to do that? Well, I have to set good boundaries inside of myself, don't I? I have to reduce the amount of time that I'm spending with one-to-one clients, which unfortunately usually means bringing the prices up so that you can offer something else in another way. So we come to this principle of Brahmacharya, and we've mentioned that it's about the right use and the conservation of one's energy. What are some positive pranic choices we can make? Well, we mentioned the sadhana, didn't we? Or what other things could we do? What about alcohol? Remember, in the spiritual world and the spiritual community, none of this is moral. There's no moral issue with smoking marijuana. There's no moral issue with drinking alcohol. There's no moral issue with doing drugs. There's no moral issue from the spiritual perspective from eating bad food. But there is a consequential sort of lens that we see things through. Now, are we willing to take the consequences of our actions? That's kind of the question. And so when we look at things like this, what's a positive pranic choice? Well, a positive pranic choice is something that increases my energy, like really good food, like being out in nature, like doing my sadhana, like these things, and being around like-minded individuals. But what are some negative things? But what about alcohol? Well, alcohol is actually a positive pranic choice until you go too far, and then it becomes a negative choice. But in a sense, does the negativity outweigh the positivity of alcohol? And the answer is probably yes. We know if we have one beer, gosh, a wonderful amount of prana comes into the system, but 2 hours later, you're tired. Why? Because it took the prana from you, you know? So we have to make not moral or ideological decisions around the things we do, but consequential based decisions. Am I willing to take the consequences for having that beer at lunch? Well, for me, the answer might be yes if I had nothing to do for the rest of the day. But the answer would definitely be no if I had clients to talk to afterwards. So we have to make this basis, not a moral judgment, but how is it going to serve my energy? And this is how I want, if you can, you don't have to, but this is kind of how we set good boundaries in ourselves and conserve our energy, is by making more positive pranic choices than negative pranic choices. So what about bad food? Well, how does it make me feel? Does it enliven my energy or dim it? Well, it dims it, doesn't it? What about alcohol? Well, it does dim my prana. One might be all right, but further than that, then we become a little bit, it doesn't really work with the spiritual journey, does it? So this is the basis we look at things. And then if we look at our energy levels, like a bank balance, what about hanging around with negative people? Does this work? Well, if I like it, then fair enough, but it's definitely a negative pranic choice, isn't it? Why? Because of how it makes us feel, and then we come home exhausted. So can we see our lives and our energy through the lens of an energetic bank balance, Brahmacharya? If I make some good investments, my energy's high, or my bank balance is high. If I make some poor investments with dodgy Dave, then my energy drops, or I go into debt, isn't it? Energy debt. And so this is the system of Brahmacharya. I hope this video helps. I hope that helps you have a new perspective around how you might be able to, or might want to, set some boundaries around your energy, because it's finite. And what's the consequence of making too many negative pranic choices? We're exhausted, so it's time to be selfish, but not in the negative way. In the way that you conserve your energy and use it in the right ways for you to enliven yourself so that you may serve others. Can't serve others from a half-filled up cup. We've got to fill this one up first, right? Then we can be of service to humanity and the people that we love in our life. I hope this video helps, and I hope you have a lovely evening. Namaste.